Good evening and welcome to Watchung Hills Regional High School Spring 2024 College Admissions Panel. I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to welcome all of tonight's attendees to the 5th Annual Watchung Hills Regional High School School Counseling Department panel. It's been 5 years since we started doing these virtually each spring, and each year we've had a great panel, a list of panelists. We're going to start in a few minutes. It's just shy of 7 o'clock, so if you could give us a few more moments, and then I will be happy to welcome Ms. Saget and the rest of the panelists here tonight to speak. Now that it's 7 o'clock, I will start promptly. I just want to say first and foremost, again, thank you to Mrs. Saget and Mrs. Rito, our Watchung Hills Regional High School school counselors, for putting together the planning, organizing, and inviting of these terrific college admissions panelists that we have here tonight, and also sending this out to both our students and our parents and the community members who are going to be able to make it and also watch this afterwards. As you know, Mrs. Saget and Mrs. Rito work alongside a team of 10 school counselors. They're all pros in assisting in the ever-evolving, I'll say, landscape of college admissions. And for those I've not had the pleasure to get to know yet, I'm Jason Sabino, the Director of School Counseling here at Watchung Hills. I'll be mostly in the background tonight. I just have the easy part of welcoming everybody. And one thing I do always like to start off with, just to kind of set the tone here, is one tip to quote unquote enjoy the journey. Embrace as a mindset that you're going to educate yourself on great options, and you will find many great places to continue to educate yourself, grow, and be prepared to contribute to even a larger learning community than the one you're already at here at Watchung Hills. Again, thank you to all the college admission reps on the call. We have some great renowned colleges and universities on the call tonight, and we're fortunate to have students who attend there each year, and we're looking forward to having another set of students going to these schools next year as well. Without further ado, I will pass the proverbial mic over to Mrs. Saget and Mrs. Rito to introduce our panelists and for tonight's presentation. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabino. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves. If you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit information about the institution that you represent and any distinctive qualities about your schools that you would like to share. So I think maybe we just might go in order of our slides here. So Annette, if you want to get us started.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Annette Medeiros. I'm an admissions representative from Rutgers University, New Brunswick. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. So just a quick overview of Rutgers. So there are 3 Rutgers campuses in the state of New Jersey. I'm from New Brunswick, which is the largest of the 3 campuses by far, but we do have 2 smaller campuses, one at Rutgers Newark and one at Rutgers Camden, so you can explore all 3 options. New Brunswick, there is a lot of research opportunities. We are a Research 1 university. About 60% of our undergraduates will engage in a research project while they're at Rutgers. There's more than 200 research centers and facilities, institutes on the campuses in New Brunswick, so lots of opportunities there. We're also the only Big Ten school in the state of New Jersey, so we have lots of exciting athletic programs and facilities for students to enjoy. New Brunswick is a kind of unique environment in that there are actually 5 individual campuses that make up the university, and each one of these campuses could really be a standalone university. Every campus has dining hall and student center and residence halls and library and recreation center. Like every campus has everything you need to succeed as a student, and but everyone is a unique community, right, with different areas of academic specialization and different, a different kind of feeling to it. So it's kind of exciting. Rutgers really does offer a lot of different environments for students to take advantage of. And as an undergraduate, you can live on different campuses over the course of your time with us. You can take classes on different campuses. It's very easy to get around. We have a very efficient campus bus system. We also guarantee housing for first-year students. We do have about 16,000 students living on campus. And as a first-year student, you would live in a first-year community, a living, learning residence hall just for first years. Just to break it down a little bit more, we do have 11 schools in New Brunswick, 7 of which you can apply to directly out of high school. On the application, you can actually apply to up to 3 schools, and you can put schools in Newark, New Brunswick, or Camden all on one application. But in New Brunswick, there are 7 schools. Excuse me, we do have our largest division, which is the School of Arts and Sciences. It's home to more than 100 majors, minors, and certificate programs, so lots and lots to choose from. Students are not admitted into a major. You're admitted as an undecided student, and you have until your sophomore year before you have to declare your major. The remaining 6 schools are all professional schools. So we have our engineering, School of Engineering with 10 different academic departments and different majors and specializations. You don't declare your major till the end of your first year. So you're even coming in undecided with engineering. At the business school, we have 6 different majors for students to choose from. And again, you're not declaring your major till your sophomore year. We also have a fine and performing arts school called Mason Gross, which has 6 different areas of study. Mason Gross is a conservatory. It's the only school at Rutgers that you have to present a portfolio or audition to be admitted. So it's highly competitive based on talent. We also have our 6-year School of Pharmacy, where you leave with a PharmD degree. So you're not leaving with a bachelor's degree, you're leaving with a graduate degree in pharmacy. Our 4-year School of Nursing, and we also have our School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, which has a lot of unique programs, including pre-veterinary studies. We have a farm on campus, lots of programs in environmental science, nutrition, food science, marine science, some really, really cool and interesting programs at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. So again, you can apply to up to 3 of these schools on one application. The application will be available in August. We are on the Common App. This will be our 2nd year on the Common App. And we also have the Rutgers application on our website. November 1 is early action and December 1 is regular action. So I'm looking forward to talking some more about Rutgers this evening. Thank you.
Do I just go ahead? I don't know if I was getting introduced.
Sorry, I actually had technical difficulties there for a second.
I thought I was imagining it.
So yes, Alina, if you would not mind going ahead and introducing yourself, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, my name's Elena Grande. I represent Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, formerly known or informally known as RPI. We're about 3 hours north of Watchung Hills, located in Troy, New York, which is right across the river from our state's capital, Albany. Where do I start? So being a Polytechnic Institute, it's not like your traditional liberal arts school. So you don't have any of those common requirements like public speaking or, other liberal arts requirements that you may have at other traditional schools. When you do apply to RPI, there are various ways that you can apply. You can apply undeclared to the university. You can apply to any of our 5 schools, or you can apply to a specific major within each of the 5 schools. A little bit about info about those schools. We have the School of Engineering, which has 13 disciplines. The most popular of those disciplines would probably be aerospace and aeronautical engineering, biomedical engineering, and mechanical engineering. We have the School of Science that makes up about 1/3 of our population. It's home to our most popular major, which is computer science, but it is also home to our BS-MD program, which is a 7-year program joint with Albany Medical College, which is about 20 minutes from our campus. When a student applies to that program, they are applying not only to RPI, but they are applying to Albany Med as well. So the student would do 3 years with us and graduate with their Bachelor's of Science, and then they would go straight to Albany Medical College for their 4 years of med school. What's so appealing about that program is that you do get to bypass the MCATs. So a lot of students like to take advantage of that, but you also graduate with a distinction in research. So if you're looking to go into medicine with more of a research focus, that's a great opportunity for you. But I also like to take the time to say that the pre-med track is also great at our school. So there's pre-health advising for students who, have a general idea that they want to pursue medicine, but aren't exactly sure where they want to pursue their MD or what avenue they want to go down. And that's about more of an 80% acceptance rate. We also have the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. That's kind of our way of fulfilling a liberal arts equivalent at a Polytechnic Institute. And for that, all of our students, regardless of their major, will have to complete 24 credits within that school. That school houses majors like cognitive science, game simulations, arts, and sciences, just to name a couple. And then we also have the Lally School of Management, which is our business school. So being a business school, it still has a technological approach to it, being that we are a technological institute. We are an R1 research institute. And so like Rutgers, most of our undergraduate students will participate in some sort of research. It's not just in those traditional research areas like science, chemistry, biology. The engineering school participates in a lot of research, as well as the humanities, arts, and social sciences school. We also have what's called the ITWS program, which isn't part of a school. It's independent from that, but it's not its own official school. That's more of an applied computer science degree. So if students are interested in cybersecurity, machine automation, and artificial intelligence, that would be the school that they would, most likely pursue. We are primarily D3 school, with the exception of our men's and women's ice hockey teams, which are D1. We have over 200 clubs on campus, so lots to do on campus. By no means a suitcase school, and we do require residential housing on campus for the freshman and sophomore years. And then our juniors and seniors will typically live off campus, but we have plenty of accommodations on campus for them as well. And that about covers it, I would say. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Amanda?
Yes. So my name is Amanda Strauss. I'm an assistant director at the University of Miami, located in Coral Gables, which is basically a suburb of Miami in South Florida. Now, we are a private mid-sized institution with around 12,000 undergraduate students. Typical misconception is that we're huge and we're a public school. We're not, we're mid-sized and we are private. We are also a tier 1 research institution, and many of our students do get involved in research as well, which is a wonderful opportunity on our campus. Lots of hands-on experiential learning on our campus. So you're not just learning in the classroom, you're really applying what you're learning in the classroom and doing that outside of the classroom as well through internships, jobs, research, a bunch of different things as well. Now, I would say our most popular majors fall within arts and sciences and business. But we're also really known for our Frost School of Music, as well as our Rosenstiel School of Marine, Atmospheric, and Earth Science. We are located in South Florida, so that kind of makes sense. And then we also have different schools and colleges, including the Communications School, Education and Human Development, Nursing and Health Sciences, Architecture, Engineering. We have 9 undergraduate schools and colleges. Now, we have over 300 clubs and organizations with over 100 majors and programs to choose from. So anything that you're kind of interested in getting involved with inside the classroom, outside the classroom, you'll probably be able to find it on our campus in one way, shape, or another. All of your interests will be very, very covered either in the classroom or outside of the classroom. We also have small class sizes, so around 11:1 student to faculty ratio. You really get to kind of know your professors know you. You're not just a seat in a lecture hall, you're not just a number. Really, again, 11:1 student to faculty ratio, which are very, very small class sizes. We don't have those big lecture halls that you typically think of. And these are great opportunities to get jobs, internships. I'm actually one of 17 family members that went to the University of Miami. I'm a proud alum, and I don't think I had any class over 20 students. My smallest class was 8 students. So you really get to create those relationships for internships with your classmates as well. My first job out of college was through a networking opportunity from one of my professors. So a really great opportunity in that aspect as well. One thing that I would say is very unique at the University of Miami is our Cognates program, which is our approach to general education courses, where you're not just taking general education courses and intro courses just to get them out of the way. You're not taking Math 101, Science 101, English 101, all those classes that you probably don't want to take. You are selecting each and every course that you are taking, and they'll fall into one of three categories: arts and humanities, people and society, and STEM. Your major will cover one of them, and then you just have to take at least 3 classes in the other 2. So really kind of encouraging students to have an interdisciplinary education and learn things outside of their specific major. So that's something that's really, really unique at UM, which I definitely love as well. We're also direct admit. So whatever major you put in your application, you're directly admitted into that school or college of your choice. We also have a front-ended curriculum, so you can start taking classes within that major your first semester, first year in. So a great way to kind of figure out if that's exactly what you want to study, or if you want to change your major, or maybe you want to add different majors, want to add maybe different minors. So that's a great conversation to have with an advisor once you do step foot on our campus. I kind of covered a little bit about experiential hands-on learning, but that really has a lot of focus on our in our community, because we do have lots of labs, studios, hospitals, museums, internships, even countries halfway across the world. Students do contribute to our study abroad programs as well. So that's another wonderful opportunity, over 80 different programs to choose from for study abroad. And you get real world learning opportunities at the University of Miami. I'm almost done, I promise. We are also a D1 institution, and we are not as good as we used to be in several sports, but we're going back. We'll be good at football. We'll be good at basketball one day. We did make it to the Elite 8 and Final 4 in women's basketball and men's basketball 2 years ago, so hoping to have that run again. But football and basketball are really, really fun on our campus, as well as all of our other D1 sports. Another thing is we are reaching our centennial year, so 100 years of the University of Miami next year, which comes with a lot of new things popping up on our campus. Have new residential colleges, which is what we call our dorms, popping up on our campus, new ones revealing this fall, and then a couple newer ones as well the upcoming falls. We also do meet 100% of demonstrated financial need for all admitted students, and we do offer merit scholarships. No extra application, you're automatically considered for our merit scholarships. And last but not least, we do have 2 different application deadlines: November 1st for early decision 1 and early action, and January 1st for early decision 2 and regular decision. So hopefully didn't lose you all, but that was a little spiel on the University of Miami.
That was great, Amanda. Thank you so much. Joanne?
Hi, everyone. My name is Joanne. I am the Assistant Director of Regional Recruitment over at Loyola University Maryland. Loyola is a private liberal arts Jesuit university, and we're only about 3 to 4 hours driving away from everyone. So for those of you who are not familiar with Jesuit education, it is really rooted in the core values of cura personalis, which means like caring for the whole person. And you're going to really feel that being a student on our campus. We're not just taking care of you academically, but we really want to grow you socially and professionally as well. At Loyola, we have probably, 2 pre-professional programs, over 50 different majors and 40 different minors that you can choose from. We have Salinger School of Business, which about a third of our students do, and then the College of Arts and Science, Liberal Arts and Science, which is the other 2/3, and then School of Education, which is about 5% of our students. And students we're really an experiential learning school as well. We provide over 80% of our students do some type of internship, field work, or research during the 4 years that they're there. We also have all first-year students are eligible for guaranteed housing, and our housing is actually really beautiful. We're ranked top 20 most beautiful campuses on the East Coast, so if you ever have a chance to come visit, you really have to come see it. Our community space is all living and learning, so you do live around and take classes around the students that you're taking classes with. You live around the student, yeah. You know what I'm saying. And additionally, we are a NCAA Division I Patriot League school with over 18 different teams. We have over 15 different club sports as well, and actually 25 different club sports and esports. Just over 12 intramural sports for more friendlier matches, and we host over 200 clubs and over 200 events on campus every year. So there is something that is going on every single day. We even developed an app where students can log on and see everything that's happening on campus, virtually, off campus, and intercollegiately. We are also part of something called the Baltimore College Network. So the Baltimore is more of a college city, if you will. It's made up of 13 different universities, including like Johns Hopkins, Towson University of Maryland. You can take classes at any of those 13 schools, and the credits do completely transfer over. And the holistic approach for our school, like the whole cure personalities, it really trickles down even to the application process. When we're evaluating your application, we're looking at every student holistically, not just your GPA and your SAT scores, but really looking at your involvement and your explanation. Maybe you have like a low grade or anything. What else can I say? I think another distinctive quality that we have, aside from our Jesuit values and our beautiful campus, is a fun fact I would like to throw. If any of you are interested, like Starbucks fans or anything, we do have a Starbucks on campus, and it's the highest grossing, highest like a traffic Starbucks in all of Maryland, Baltimore. And yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joanne. And Andrew?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today, and for everyone at Watching Hills for hosting this event. I'm going to keep my introductory spiel a little bit shorter because I know we're also going to get into a lot of stuff as well. So my name is Andrew Austin.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I think there's something wrong with your mic.
Oh, can you not hear me?
For some reason, your sound is a little bit off.
Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me any better now?
That seems better.
Better? Awesome. All right. So now my phone is acting as my microphone. But so I'm gonna keep it a little short and sweet, because I know we're gonna get into a lot of it later on. But my name is Andrew Austin. I'm a senior admissions counselor at James Madison University. And I'm originally from New Jersey, so recruiting New Jersey is just going back to home turf. A little bit about New Jersey, a little bit about JMU. We're 20,000 undergraduate students and about 2,000 graduate students. We have over 130 programs, including majors, minors, concentrations, pre-professional programs that you can get involved in. Some of our top majors include business, psychology, nursing, communications, psychology as well. But all of our majors are phenomenal with a lot of ways to get hands-on learning and experiential learning experiences throughout your 4 years. It's also not uncommon for students to double major or have a major and a minor if that's something that you're looking to do. We are also Division I of the NCAA, and if you follow college football, we do really well, and we have since we joined the Sun Belt 2 years ago. But we also have baseball, basketball, soccer that are also Division I, and all the Division I sports that we have are also intramural and club sports. So if you're looking for something a little bit more low key, we do have those options as well. Similarly, if you're not interested in sports, we do have over 400 clubs and organizations to get involved in. So there is something for everyone, from your, very common, student government to a Taylor Swift society. So there's lots of things. But thanks again for having me, and I hope to share more about JMU with all today.
Thank you. And again, thank you all of you for being here and for sharing so much about your schools. As we went through the intro, and we're hoping to get through tonight talking about some of these topics, such as college research, like what you were sharing about your schools, a little bit about the application process, standardized testing, touching a bit on financial aid and Q&A. Ms. Rito, do you want to talk a little bit about the Q&A box that's in there?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to bring the question and answer feature to your attention. It says Q&A and it has a little question mark. If you click that, you will be able to drop a question in the question and answer box, and I will be looking through them. And then at the end, if we have time, I'll be asking the reps some of your questions. So feel free, if you have questions that come up as they're talking that we might not be hitting on, feel free to drop those in that area. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Rito. So in terms of college research, again, you all were so amazingly thorough in talking a bit about your schools and some of the programs that make them unique, whether it's the Cognates program or the Baltimore College Network, special majors, sports and successes of sports at your various institutions. As you're kind of, looking through your applications or talking to prospective students, do you have any other tips on, what might constitute fit for your school, a student who might be a good fit, or the types of factors that you think tend to draw students to your particular school versus others? Whoever wants to kind of jump in there. Elena?
Hi, yeah. So what I think is unique about our institution, being a polytechnic institution, is that a lot of our students, or our typical prospective students, are those who, are very STEM minded and STEM brains. They take their English classes, they take their social studies classes, but where they really shine and where their passion really lies within is, those math classes, calculus, physics, the ones you typically think of, computer science classes. So for those students who, I don't want to say waste their time, because liberal arts classes aren't a waste of time by any means, but for those students who want to dive headfirst into hands-on applied learning within, their prospective field of choice, our institution is perfect for that. The core classes that you would take are Calculus 1, Physics 1, Chem 1, Bio 1. So it'd still be within that STEM sphere. So our typical prospective student, has that passion kind of driving them once they apply to our school. And another big thing that we always like to enforce is having a strong calculus background. We only require up to pre-calculus, but calculus is preferred, and we do prefer that calculus class is taken in their senior year so that it's fresh once they come to campus in the fall. We obviously get very talented, very intelligent students, but we always like to enforce the jump from high school rigor to college rigor. We want students to kind of know that coming into things, and to not, be too hard on themselves when they come to school and it's way harder than they thought. So that's why we like to make sure to have those students be as prepared as possible. So have a strong physics background, have a strong calculus background. Again, it does vary depending on the school, like business versus mechanical engineering, for example. But it's just something we want students to be prepared for when they're looking at our school. So that's always blanket statement what I recommend for students looking at us.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Elena. Andrew, did you have something that you wanted to add to?
Yeah, so, something that makes JMU unique, I think, especially appealing to New Jersey students, because we do get a good amount of New Jersey students coming to JMU. I like to say it's a third of our out-of-state population, which is phenomenal. So you're going to be in good company. A lot of people will have that same experience of you're moving away from home. You're going to be 5.5 hours away from home, but you'll have people who know what it's like. You have people who have been there, that are upperclassmen who know what it's like, that you can kind of lean on and find as your crutch. But aside from that, something else that I think that really adds to JMU's reputation is the fact that we don't admit by major, which means you can come in completely undeclared or exploratory and really take that first year, those first 2 years even, to find what you want. Talk to your career counselor, take a 1-credit course to help you evaluate and identify some potential career options. And all of our faculty and staff and students are there to support you, to the point where our classes are small. Our average class size is 25. Even though we have 20,000 students, we like to keep that small campus feel. We like to say that JMU is a big campus with big campus opportunities, from research to studying abroad to connections. but we like to keep a small campus feel where you get those intimate connections, those interpersonal relationships, those forever bonds that, you're going to want to carry with you forever. So those are things that are really good about JMU. Is I really truly believe that it's a home away from home. And that's how I feel being at home away from home as well.
Thanks, Joanne.
Hi, yeah. So similarly to JMU, I think like Loyola, when we're looking for students who feel that they would be a best fit for us, if you're looking for like a small classroom environment, that's definitely here too. We have our average class size around 20 students, but I think like, especially if you're thinking about mentorship or internship opportunities, I think Loyola is a really great fit for you there. Every student automatically has a student mentor when they come in, and is already assigned to at least 2 advisors who is going to be meeting with you regularly to help you acclimate to Loyola and to Baltimore City. They'll take you out to trips like Orioles game or like at a museum at the art district. But it's also located in a city, but a little bit away from the city. So if you are looking for the city to be accessible, it's definitely available for you there. But then it's also a beautiful campus where you can just stay there and enjoy everything that's offered on campus as well. And of course, we also really look for students who get involved. That's something we look at a lot in application. We know that if you're involved as a high school student, whether it's on your school or in your community or with your family, you're gonna be involved at Loyola. We always look for students who wanna, like, if Loyola would be a great fit if you're thinking about having a kind of like transformative education, I guess, and thinking about making a difference in the world.
Thank you. As students are doing their college research, what's really the best way, do you think, to connect with your offices, really get a sense of what fit is, and do you take demonstrated interest into account when you are reviewing applications? Amanda?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is kind of understanding that we're people too on the other end of the screen. I mean, we're here, we're real people on the other end. And we really want to get to know you. That's why we got into our profession. We love getting to know each and every one of your stories whenever we meet you in person, whenever we get to receive an email, whenever we get to read your applications, read your essays. We really get to know kind of who you are. So paint that picture to us. When you reach out via email, don't just send us an email that you can just easily search online. Tell us who you are, what you're passionate about. Show us that you've done your college research already, that you know a little bit about the institution, and kind of put yourself out there. Really just form that relationship with your counselor, because that's the way that we're going to remember who you are. We're not just going to remember the student who just reached out and told us, oh, you have a really cool basketball team. We know that. We want to establish the connection with you, the individual, the student. So that's one really good way to kind of stand out in the application process. I don't mean sending us 20 emails a day or 20 emails a week, but kind of establishing that a concurrent relationship throughout the year, throughout the college search process. And at Miami, we do take demonstrated interest into account. It does take into consideration different touch points. So not only emailing your counselor, but also visiting campus if you're able to, whether that be in person, whether that be virtual, attending our in-person and virtual events, opening up our emails, clicking on our emails, interacting with our email communications. And another good way that not necessarily is considered demonstrated engagement, but look us up on our social media so that you can learn more about the institution. We have a really good YouTube page that has a lot of information. Look us up on TikTok. Even though you might not see exactly what I want you to see, you can really kind of get to see what a typical student life is at the University of Miami. Not necessarily what, again, I want you to see, but you can really kind of find your fit that way. And it's a really good resource that you can use throughout this process, but use it in a good way, of course. So that's kind of my tip there.
Thank you. Elena?
Yeah, so pretty similar to what she said in terms of, how the best way to connect with us. I definitely take face value as priority. Being 3 hours north of New Jersey for 3 to 4 hours for the schools I hit. Students typically have the ability to drive up on the weekend or even during the week. So when I see a student putting forth that effort to visit campus, I take that very seriously in terms of, the student, is taking time to see if they can envision themselves there by putting themselves quite literally on campus. As someone who isn't that far out of college, I definitely know the value in, the vibes, so to speak. So if you don't vibe with a certain campus, like, it's important to get that out of your system. So, because it is really a feeling that you have viscerally when you walk into campus and you're like, this is where I can envision myself for the next 4 years. Because it is arguably one of the most important 4 years of your life. Not to get too serious, but so that's why I think it's so important for students to come, to our campus, because not only are they getting a more thorough info session in person with us, they're also getting to have a tour led by one of our amazing student ambassador staff members. And I always say, like, as a faculty member, I can only tell you so much, but a student will be able to, say, this is what my daily life is like. This is how I balance, club sports with my academics. Here's how I survive. So it's really great. And I always try to connect my, prospective students with current students who are either in that major or, can really just speak to that student experience. And both parties are always, like, really willing to, interact with each other. So that's huge for us. Demonstrated interest. We even have a scale when we're reviewing applications in terms of level of interest. And that really can sometimes put one student, above another, because we want to make sure, yes, we'll admit a student, but we want to see who we can actually yield. So demonstrated interest is really important to us in that regard. So definitely, when you're doing those, if you're using the Common App and you're saying, why are you interested in our school? Make sure you kind of like say, oh, I want to join this club while I'm on campus. I can't wait to take a class from this professor. It just shows that you took the time to really, like, research our institution and really, like, mentally put yourself, in the shoes of a future student.
Thank you. Annette?
Okay, hi. So yeah, given the size of Rutgers and the 5 individual campuses, personally, I think the best way to learn about us is to come for one of our information sessions with bus tour. So it is about a 2-hour visit, but on the bus, you will see all 5 campuses. You'll get off the bus at least in one location, so you can, maybe see one of our facilities. You'll be able to interact with one of our outstanding student ambassadors, so you can get that, really great information directly from one of our students. So we do have bus tours year round. I think June 1, our summer schedule will be posted on our admissions.rutgers.edu website. And coming in the summer is great. I mean, sometimes people hesitate to come in the summer. Yes, it will be quieter, but you'll still see the campus, and it's still a perfectly valid time of year to come. If you like what you see, then yeah, you might want to come back in the fall when things are a little bit more hustle bustle, and get a more of a feeling for what it's like on a normal school day, so to speak. So yeah, we also do have walking tours. If you're really just, really super interested in engineering, then you definitely want to take the walking tour, which, you'll have an information session with, a dean at the School of Engineering and a walking tour with one of their students. So our individual schools do have the walking tours, but again, that overview, the campus bus tour is really ideal. They do book up very quickly. So if you are interested, keep your eye, bookmark that web page, kind of keep checking. Again, June 1 for summer. I know it was February 1 for spring, probably around August 1 or September 1 for fall tours, but you do kind of want to keep your eye on that. We don't take into consideration demonstrated interest. We just know everybody's super interested. So we had 69,000 students apply for this fall. So yeah, we're good with that. And then, yeah, if you are admitted next spring, if you're a junior now, you'll be invited to the Admitted Student Open House, which is the other, like, perfect way to learn more about the university, talk to faculty, interact with deans and students and all of that. And that really is such a great day, the open house. It really does really make you feel like, yeah, this is the right place, or, maybe not, right? So it's a great event. for admitted students.
Thanks. And Joanne?
Ditto to what everyone said in the first part about schools and coming to visit, but I just wanted to address Loyola's demonstrated interest part because I think every university does it a little bit differently. For us, we don't track demonstrated interest until you are either deferred from early action or waitlisted. So that's when that demonstrated interest, those points of contacts are really, really important. But if you are just waitlisted or deferred and then suddenly you're showing that interest, we also see that too. So it's important to remain consistent with your interest as well.
Thank you. I know some popular majors for our students as they're looking at colleges are areas of computer science, engineering, business, nursing, and other pre-health professions. I know Elena mentioned before a little bit about readiness in terms of coursework. What are some other things that you think students who are looking at those particular areas should be aware of as they're researching programs and looking at different colleges? Elena, I'll let you chime in again.
Yeah, for that BSMD program that I mentioned previously, I always like to highlight that because we have a lot of interest in that specific program across the board, especially from our New Jersey students. As I had said, it's a highly competitive program. This year alone, we got 750 applications for the program, and Albany Med only accepts a maximum of 15 students from that pool of 750. So I always like to let students know that it is the parameters for that program are really strict and pretty, advanced, I guess, so to speak. So our typical student that we admit into that program has already had published research with either, like a physician or, for example, one person worked at Memorial Sloan Kettering on like ovarian cancer research, as well as volunteer work within the medical field, whether it be at a hospital or a physician's office. Blows my mind how a 17-year-old has that under their belt, but they do, some of these applicants. So we always say that. And it is the only major on campus that is not test optional. It either has to be your SAT score or your ACT score. There's technically no minimum score, but our typical applicants have no less than a 1500. Typically it's 1550 to 1600. And with ACTs, it's typically about like a 33 to a 36, maybe even 34 to 36. So we always like people to know that. And that's why I always go back to the fact that pre-med health track is also an option for our students. And in some ways it's better because you're not pigeonholed to going to Albany Medical College and staying in that area for 7 years. You have the opportunity to still have, the methods to take that MCAT, do well on that MCAT, and go to medical school where you so choose at the end of your 4 years at our school. And then other than that, with computer science, that's the only other one I'll address. That's our most popular major. So it is our most competitive. So we always recommend students to apply for that for the early action pool because we'll see your application first and, we'll still have like X amount of spots left within that major. And it just betters your chances of getting accepted into that major.
That's great. Thank you so much, Elena. Andrew?
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about our nursing program at JMU and also touch a little bit on the business because those are the two main majors that students will want to go into that do involve an additional application. So like I said earlier, JMU does not admit by majors, but once you get to JMU, you do have to apply to the nursing program. Typically students, if they want to jump right into it, will apply as soon as their second semester, first year. So the spring of their first year. What I will say about that too is over 200 students will apply every semester and we only have 113 spots. So by design, there's about a 50% acceptance rate. So it is a very competitive program. And the reason for that is because, we want to give the resources to our students, whether that's for the clinicals or the field work or the in-person labs on campus. We want to provide enough resources and faculty mentorship so that students can succeed. You can apply more than once if you do not get in, but we do also highly recommend that students maybe have a backup major, whether it's in biology, chemistry, health sciences, psychology, just in case you don't get in and you want to pursue another degree to graduate in 4 years. So, and then the same thing with business, but not as strict. They just want to see that you're taking the entry-level business classes, the math classes that you'll need to then progress into the business major. As long as you're making that, I think the GPA requirement's like a 3.0, you'll be able to just be admitted into the program. So it's more just basic level, take your classes, do well, you'll get in. But there is an application process for it in theory. But all of them are great. A lot of them are just declare, and then you can change or, swap whatever you want after you make that declaration. But the nursing and the business programs specifically do have an additional piece to them.
Thank you. Annette, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, students can apply to up to 3 schools on one application. And just to be clear, every school has different admissions criteria. And so as a general rule, the schools that are at Rutgers Newark and Rutgers Camden tend to be a little less competitive than the schools at Rutgers New Brunswick. And then within Rutgers New Brunswick, there are varying levels of competition as well. So I always encourage students, if you're interested in one of the professional schools, specifically business, engineering, or pharmacy or nursing, you should absolutely, and even Mason Gross, you should absolutely put down either the School of Arts and Sciences and or the School of Environmental or Biological Sciences as a second or third choice, or maybe put down a Newark choice because there's a business school in Newark and a business school in Camden, or put down, as a second or third choice too, right? So give yourself as many opportunities to be admitted as possible. You can be admitted to all the schools you could apply to. You could be admitted to none. You could be admitted to one and not another, waitlisted to a third, right? So you can get all different decisions. And so, say you're really interested in business, but you don't get into the business school right out of high school, but you do get into the School of Arts and Sciences, right? So a lot of our students can begin at SAS. They can take the entire pre-business core curriculum, and then they can apply for a school-to-school transfer over to the business school, either as a sophomore or a junior. And they're still going to graduate in 4 years because the business school students really don't start their majors until the junior year anyway, right? So they're all basically doing, all they're doing is the pre-business core and liberal arts courses, the core curriculum, while they're in their first 2 years at the business school. So just know that there is this ability to transfer between schools. And so, giving yourself, more options on the application front can be beneficial down the road. It's also possible that you get, say you get admitted directly to engineering right out of high school, you start out and you decide engineering's not for you, right? So, it's also super easy to transfer the other way, right? Like, okay, you know what, I just want to go to the School of Arts and Sciences and do a physics major, or I want to do, political science. I changed my mind completely. So you don't have to leave Rutgers, right? You can do this school-to-school transfer between the different institutions.
Thanks. And I think, Amanda, did you have something to add as well?
Yes, if you don't mind, I'll go very, very short on this one. But basically for our STEM-based majors, so like computer science, engineering, and nursing, I would say really have a strong STEM background within the courses that you're having, taking in high school, and then have strong rigor within those as well. So take those APs, IBs, school enrollment, whatever your school offers you, take those advanced level courses. For business, do have a strong math foundation. While we don't have a math requirement, the business school likes to see calculus. They like to see pre-calc if you have it or above. So try to take that calculus if you can. If not, pre-calc is okay. And then another thing I do want to mention here is if you do have research, if you are intellectually curious, we do have some special programs that are invite only. So if you do highlight that within your application, you may be invited to our special programs, mostly to do with STEM. So and mostly to do with, like I was mentioning, research and students who are and show that they're intellectually curious. So definitely highlight those if you are interested in those programs.
Great. So now that we've talked a little bit about college research, I guess we could talk a little bit about the applications and showing what you know and what you've learned in that research, right? As the students actually approach those applications. So can you share a little bit about, whether it's in the college essay piece or specific questions to your school, any tips that you have for approaching those pieces of the process and how to appropriately use outside resources, whether that's AI or, external counselors or teacher assistants in helping to put together those written pieces of the application. Andrew, I think you were first in jumping in.
Yeah, so similar to some of my colleagues who said that the letter of recommendation, the personal statement isn't a huge factor in the decision at JMU. It's the same at JMU as well. Sorry, I meant at their institution. It's the same at JMU as well. But what I will say is, and this is something that I can't stress enough to students, is if there's something on your transcript that is not translating correctly. So let's say your freshman year, you got a C- in Algebra 1, but it's the only C on your entire transcript, and you went from Algebra 1 with a C- to Honors Geometry with an A. Yes, we're going to look at that C and count that C as a part of your evaluation, but we just assume it's a C, you didn't do well, or you didn't do as well as you normally do. But if we find out in your personal statement or your counselor recommendation or whoever it is that writes your recommendation that your freshman year, someone passed away or you got injured or, whatever the case may be, COVID, the past couple of years has been a huge one. Those are things that help us. It won't dismiss the C, but it might add much needed context that we don't get by looking at your transcript or just looking at your application. So that's something really huge, firstly. And then second of all, if you have any academic accommodations that you need, whether it's extra test taking time, a scribe, you need it all in print form. Let us know that too. Again, it doesn't impact your decision, but knowing those accommodations might reflect why you may not have taken a language. You may not have been able to take those higher level courses because it was not an option for you. Those are things that we look for, is those APs and those IBs and those honors courses. But if those were not available to you because of a certain circumstance, it's best for us to know, even if it might feel uncomfortable for you to say, because the more information that we get, the better we can picture you as an applicant versus you as a piece of paper, digital form. And in terms of AI and all that stuff, just write it yourself. The more human you can be about it, the more personal that you can be about it, the more personal it comes through to us. We'll read thousands of applications a year, a decision time frame. So the more that you can make it you, the better, for sure.
Thanks. Joanne?
Oh, I think Amanda was first before we.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Amanda.
okay.
I'm
No
trying
worries.
to keep track.
No worries. I just want to reiterate the be yourself, be authentic. And again, another thing, I think Joanne mentioned this earlier, but it's a holistic review. So we are looking at every single part of your application. Another word to kind of keep in your mind is context. We're looking at every single part of your application, but we're looking at it in context. Like Andrew mentioned, if you got that C, we want to understand maybe why you got that C. So really use every single part of your application to explain a little bit more about who you are. We want it, or think of when you're filling out your application, think that you're just talking to us as your best friend. Think that you're having a conversation with us. Tell us every single part about who you are inside the classroom, outside the classroom, so we can really feel like we know you and we've known you for 10 plus years. So that's just another tip that I have.
I am really losing track of our hands because I thought that Joanne was next, but now I'm seeing Elena. So I think maybe Joanne, if you want to hop in, and then we'll get to Elena. I promise we'll get to everyone.
It automatically lowered my hand before when I spoke. So, but thank you. Echoing everything that everyone else said, but in particular about the AI essay stuff, like, at least for me, I feel like there's a certain way AI talks that it seem like it's just very generalized, and you can kind of tell when it's a real voice coming through versus when it's written by AI. So I just want to see your personality. I really want to get to know who you are, what you care about. You don't have to overthink it about like coming from like the most craziest background or something that you've overcome. It could be a personality essay that just shows me like this is who I am. I like the color pink, and but everyone thinks I like the color black. That was actually something a student wrote, and it was a great essay. So like those type of essays that at the very least I hear your voice, I know what you care about. Those are going to be the ones that I think stand out for sure. And yeah, letters of recommendations, even if you're not comfortable sharing why you had a lower grade, you can always email the schools and offer an explanation if you don't want to have it on the Common App.
That's great. Thank you. And Elena?
Yeah, so just a little bit on well, the application and with the personal, statement and the essay. So if you're using the Common App, obviously you're using the same essay for every school you applied to. But I'll echo everyone else's sentiment. It is really important for me to see who the person is behind the essay and who comes forward through it. Like maybe I'm weird, but reading season is like my jam. It's my favorite thing to do, and I would do it all year if I could, because I just really like getting to know these kids. But for a school like ours, it's a technical institute, I do see a lot of like similarities. There's a lot of Lego essays and essays about, the hackathons they participate in. But the ones that really stand out to me are those personality essays. I like to see, hear the voice as a writer myself, like that really speaks volumes for me personally as a reader. So again, like it doesn't have to be some huge story of adversity that you came up against. It can just, because obviously not everyone has a hard life necessarily, but, just really speak to something. I want to see your joy. I want to see your passion, and maybe have it, show the type of student that you are going to be at our school. And then when it comes to the letters of recommendation, that's the last thing I'll speak on. But we take up to 3, but we only require 1. And for a school such as ours, we do require that it is from either a math or science teacher or a guidance counselor. So that's something that's kind of unique to us. We always say that definitely go after the teacher that's not already inundated with a bunch of requests, because there are instances, and I have had this experience, where a student will ask one teacher and the teacher will send, I'm not writing an evaluation for this student. And then we have to go and get some sort of letter because we require it. So in that case, just make sure whoever you are seeking out for that letter isn't already, pummeled with a bunch of requests from other students, and that they can really speak not only to your abilities as a student, but to your character, because that's what I look for personally when I read those letters of recommendation. So by all means, do not submit 9 because we have to read all 9 of them. Just make sure that they also speak to, different aspects of you as a student.
Thank you. And thanks for mentioning the specificity of who you're asking from. Are there any other institutions here where you're looking for a very specific teacher if someone's applying to a specific program other than RPI? Okay, thank you.
We don't take letters of recommendation at all, just to make that point.
Thank you. So we start to get, our students applying to colleges like as soon as that Common App opens on August 1st, and students kind of chomping at the bit to get materials in. Is there any advantage to getting everything in on, September 15th versus November 1 and getting materials in, Elena?
So really only in the case of some of those more competitive majors, because we have early decision, early action, and regular decision. I always recommend early action. It is our biggest pool, and it's not the contractually binding commitment of early decision, but you still get your application in sooner. And it's kind of rolling in the sense that like as we're reading those early action applications, our number keeps jumping up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that like the first one I read is going to take precedent over the, 600th I read. But it is important for some of those more competitive majors like mechanical engineering or computer science for you to get your application in sooner, just because our parameters and our matrices look a little bit different than the other majors that we offer here. So that's the only case where that does make a difference for our students.
Can you give us a sense of like what that timeline might be, like how early a student would want to get all of that in?
Yeah, so in terms of early action, the deadline is December 1st. So typically we start seeing applications for that roll in around October. We don't really start reading until November, actually, because that's when travel season finally ends. So I can't remember, it's so long ago, but I can't remember at what point we started seeing those file in slate, but it's a lot later. It's not August 1st. It's a lot later than most other institutions. But in terms of getting those materials in the timeline, typically our students, I would say mid-November, maybe even early November, you can start getting that stuff in. But we're not, really strict on that. But I do like when students get it all in at once, because sometimes we're running to get things from other students. Like, some schools do, for early action, it's our first period marking grades. And then for our regular decision, it's those mid-year grade reports. So if students can be on top of getting those in as soon as possible, I know every school is different. Like some private schools don't do first period marking grades or whatever, but however your institution works, just make sure you're on top of that and getting those to us, because we can't make a decision without that information.
Thank you. Amanda?
I would say in terms of actually applying, I would say we do have an early admission advantage. So if you can apply early decision 1 or early action, definitely I encourage you to do so. Do not wait for regular decision. It's kind of the most competitive pool. We understand that not every student can apply early decision. So that's why early action is a wonderful pool. I think the word has gone out there and early action has become even more competitive than it has in the past. But if you can apply early decision, apply early decision. If you can't apply early decision, early action, but definitely do not wait till regular decision. Now, in terms of just getting your documents in, do not wait until the deadline, because if we are missing something, if something does not get in on time, we are very strict with deadlines. So the same with your college application, same with financial aid. Do not wait until the final day. Don't wait until the end of October to submit for early decision 1 or early action. Don't wait for November 1st. Start submitting before November 1st so that we are able to have all of your documents in by November.
Joanne?
So at Loyola, we have been test optional since 2009. That is not going anywhere. We knew very early on tests aren't an accurate representation of students' abilities, so we definitely look at your GPA a little bit more. However, if you do want to submit your test scores, last year's students, the class of 2027, came in with a range of, I believe it was 1210 to 1360 and ACT of 27 to 32. Yeah, I think that was right. Yeah, and then that will only really play into your merit scholarship, and that's how it'll impact. And I'll talk a little bit about that. I think we're gonna talk about finance that later, so I'll share information about that later. Yeah.
Thanks. Amanda?
Yes, we are University of Miami. We are test optional until fall 2025. So we will reevaluate for sophomores. And then we'll let you know. That'll be posted. If you are in our database, you'll start getting that information very, very soon. And then I would say our ranges for SAT are 1380 to 1500. And then for the ACT, 31 to 34. Those are the numbers for the last cycle. We'll post the new cycle during the summer. Our recommendation is if you fall within that middle 50% or above, definitely submit. If you do fall a little bit below, but you are applying early decision, there is some wiggle room. Obviously not like a 1200, but if you fall within like the lower 1300s for SAT, still think of submitting those SAT scores if you're applying early decision. And then we do super score. That is something that I do want to mention. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you. And Andrew?
Yeah, so at JMU, we are test optional and we will be test optional for the foreseeable future. Kind of echoing my colleagues, we see the value in, what's on the transcript rather than what's the 1 4-hour test on a Saturday morning that you took. And something to kind of, reinforce that is that this current class that we just admitted, the freshman class, well, sorry, excuse me, the current freshman class, the class is 2027, less than 50% of them have it submitted scores. But if you do want to submit scores, we do, not tell you not to. But our range is about an 1180 to a 1360 for the SAT, and I believe anything around a 29 and up for ACT. And then we also do super score like Amanda does. So if you don't know what super scoring is, if you don't mind, I just say it real quick. It's if you take the SAT more than once and you get a higher average, we'll take the better of the two. Or if you take it 2 times and your first score was higher, we'll take the better of the two there as well. So just to let you know what kind of super scoring means, or like what people say when they take the best of what you have.
Thanks so much. Amanda, you talked a little bit about ED and the advantage of applying early decision. If families need to take financial fit into account, what tools do you suggest that they use? What approach do you suggest for them if they know that your institution is their first choice and a financial aid package does have to come into play? How do you generally advise those families? And Amanda, I'll start with you.
Yes. So the biggest thing I would say is if finances play any role within your application process, early decision shouldn't even be a consideration, because you won't be able to weigh different financial aid packages once admitted. You are going to the institution if hopefully, and you're honored to be admitted to an institution, and we would be honored to have you as well. But if finances do play a role, please, please, please do not even consider early decision. It's just a weird, awkward conversation if it gets to that. But again, at the University of Miami, we do meet 100% of demonstrated financial need for all admitted students. So what that means is based on what your family can afford and what the institution costs, we meet that difference. So, and that's based on the FAFSA and the CSS profile, which I'm sure you'll learn about later during the year if you're unsure of what those mean right now. But based on those documents that you're submitting for financial aid, we will meet 100% of that. And then we also offer merit aid and scholarships on the other front rather than need-based aid. Those are based on your academic achievements.
Thank you. Andrew?
Yeah, so at JMU, we are only offering early action applications and regular decisions, so there is no binding option there. And then it also doesn't impact you negatively if you needed to wait to pay for the application fee, the $70 for regular decision and not early action. And what I mean by it doesn't negatively impact you is that you could get scholarships either way. What I will say as like a warning is that something that I tell my students in New Jersey is that we don't offer too many merit-based scholarships or scholarships in general. About 5% of our students will receive merit-based scholarships, so it's really low. And then we do have some need and interest-based scholarships, as well as some other scholarships that are merit-based in a scholarship portal that you get access to after you apply. But yeah, I like to say that if you're interested in JMU, it's not out of the ordinary to think that you might be paying the full ticket price, but there are some options for sure. And then there are also some scholarships that you can apply for once you're on campus as well. But if finances is a need of yours and a concern, obviously fill out the FAFSA. Huge thing. It's the only thing that you need to do to get any state, federal, or institutional grant money. But then also, weigh your options, especially if JMU's in there, because of the fact that we are a little bit tied with back with money because we get our money from the state, and unfortunately we do get one of the lowest endowments from Virginia. So we definitely want you at JMU, and we're willing to help you and have those conversations with you, but obviously it's also good to be honest up front.
Thank you. Joanne?
So at Loyola, we do have early decision and early action. They're both November 15th. But if you are unsure about your financial fit and you want to do ED, definitely do our net price calculator. It's pretty accurate as long as the information you're putting in is accurate, and we give you a range of how much scholarship award you will receive, any need-based financial aid you will receive. Every student gets a merit-based scholarship, is automatically considered, and the merit-based scholarship ranges from $25,000 to $35,000 per student. Additionally, like need-based financial aid, I believe typically students at the bare minimum get around $5,000 in like loans if they're eligible for it. So that's already like maximum $40,000, minimum $30,000. And I would say that if you are unsure about applying ED, then just do early action. But if you are like interested in doing ED and after you still are unsure about like the finance part or anything, talk to me. Email me. I will work with you to see if there's any more institutional aid that we can offer. I'm your biggest advocate when it comes to all of this, and the financial aid department, of course. But I'm going to get to know you through this entire application process, and I want to make sure that you have like the best package coming here at Loyola. So talk to me about it.
Thank you. And Elena?
I'll be quick. So like some of my other colleagues in this meeting said, for early decision, it's a very small pool. And because we have early action, I also encourage that if you don't know your financial situation, definitely stick to the early action. Usually our ED applicants are like varsity recruits or our medal scholarship winners, which is one of our merit-based scholarships. Students don't have to do anything additional to be considered for merit-based aid. It's pulled from the application itself and like those SAT scores, for example, or leadership positions they hold in clubs. But our highest merit-based scholarship is an annual $40,000 a year scholarship. It is our medal scholarship. I believe you're a medal school. So essentially what that means is that a student is selected by either their guidance counselor or a math or science teacher for that award. And then we kind of process it and award it if we see fit for it. But otherwise, we have a leadership award. We have a merit-based award specifically for females because we were always trying to up our numbers with that regard. And we also have the Garnet D. Baltimore Scholarship for our Black students, just to name a couple. So we really try to meet students where they are because we are a more expensive institution. I think the average amount of aid that students get is probably around $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So we are usually trying to be good with that.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask Ms. Rito to come on. I know she's been monitoring the Q&A.
Hi, so we have two questions for our Rutgers rep, Annette. So Annette, the first question is, and you talked a little bit about transferring between schools. The question is though, can you double major in two different schools? So say the College of Arts and Science and maybe the College of Business.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I was thinking of mentioning that before, but I didn't want to go on and on. So yeah, you can do a second major typically. If you are in a professional school, you do have access to the courses offered at the School of Arts and Sciences. So for example, if you're at the business school, we do have students who do a second major at the School of Arts and Sciences. Maybe they do a minor, which is less credits, right? But they have complete access to the School of Arts and Sciences. If you're at the engineering school and you want to do a second major, you're really looking typically at a 5-year program. All right. So you still do have the opportunity to do a second major at the School of Arts and Sciences, but unless you're coming in with like 30 AP credits or something crazy, you're not going to do that within 4 years. But we do have engineering students that do complete a minor at SAS within 4 years. So the minor is a little bit more conceivable. The School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, we have students there that do double major or minor at the School of Arts and Sciences. Nursing and pharmacy, not really doing second majors. And Mason Gross students can sometimes do a minor. at the School of Arts and Sciences. So I kind of think of the School of Arts and Sciences as being like a big bucket of popcorn. Everybody can kind of grab and take things out of it, but it doesn't go the other way, right? If you're at the School of Arts and Sciences, you can't do a major in engineering. You can't do a major in business, right? You have to actually do a school-to-school transfer and get yourself into that professional school.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful, especially for students when they're thinking about applying and like how to rank those schools. And the other one is now, I mean, everybody's been talking, especially in New Jersey, about Rutgers getting their record number of applicants. Can you, I guess, give us a little bit of information on how you evaluate students? You get so many students from all different types of high schools in New Jersey. You get students from out of state. So can you tell us a little bit about how you evaluate students for admissions?
Yeah, but I just want to, you mentioned ranking schools. So I just want to very briefly say that you can apply to, as I said, up to 3 schools on the application. And you're going to be considered equally for admission to all 3 schools. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. However, the first choice school is the only one that we will consider you for honors or scholarships. So you should put your first choice school in your first choice slot just for that reason. But again, for admission purposes, equal evaluation for all 3 choices. Okay, I just wanted to touch on that.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah. So at Rutgers, the application is fairly straightforward. We have, you use the Common App or the Rutgers app. You tell us a little bit about your activities, your extracurriculars, your leadership honors, awards. There's an essay statement. But the emphasis really is going to be on the transcript. So we're looking at, the number of academic courses you've taken, the level of the courses, right, the rigor of your program, the trend in your grades from year to year. Certain schools like engineering, physics, chemistry, pre-calculus, pharmacy and nursing minimally want to see biology and chemistry, but those are the minimums. So the students that are going to be a little more competitive, maybe you're going to have AP Calc or AP Bio, etc. So the emphasis really is on that transcript, the quality of your program and your grades, the trend and the strength. And yeah, I mean that's we don't take letters of recommendation. There is no demonstrated interest, so it really and the SAT, you guys all touched on that a little bit. I suspect we're going to continue to be optional, and just like everybody else, we super score. We put the 2 highest scores together. ACT, we're just looking at your composite score. We're not looking at the individual sub scores. And again, you should really only submit the score if you feel that if you fit into one of our middle 50% categories, and you can find our admitted student profile on our website. And if you don't submit a score, it's fine. You're still going to fully consider for admission. You're still going to have the same consideration and opportunities for scholarships and honors. And we are going to look at your weighted GPA. I don't know if Watch on Hills provides a weighted GPA. You do? Okay, so if your school didn't, we would weight it, right? Because we want everybody to be on that same sort of GPA playing field.
Great, thank you so much. And that was it for the questions.
I know we're going over, was there anything else anyone just wanted to share for like parting words of wisdom, anything that came to mind that, you wanted to share with our students that we didn't get to cover through our session this evening? Joanne?
I know the college process can be very anxiety inducing and stressful. I think like when thinking about picking a place to go, just see if you can envision yourself being happy and healthy there. I think when you are in a happy or a healthy place, you are most likely to succeed and thrive. So yeah, my parting words. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you. Amanda?
So my biggest thing has always been that you will end up wherever you are meant to end up. And if that doesn't work, transferring is always an option. So I think all the schools that are here are wonderful. There's thousands of schools across the world, across the US that are wonderful, and you will end up exactly where you are meant to end up. But if it doesn't work out, there are so many other things available for you. It's not the end of the world. It is a very, very complicated, very daunting process. Even for us who are in the field, it's a very complicated process. So know that we are all here for you. And if you ever need anything, admission counselors love to help their students.
Thank you so much. Andrew?
Yeah, I kind of just want to piggyback off of what Amanda was saying. Reach out to us. Something that I'm going to say right now and might seem unfathomable is there are no dumb questions. Obviously we would love for you to do some research beforehand, but our job is to educate. We go in assuming you know nothing. And so it's okay to ask. There really are no dumb questions because our job is to make sure, yes, that you have interest in our respective schools, but more so that you have the information that you want or need to make a very informed decision for yourself and your family and whoever that looks like moving forward. So reach out to us. We don't bite. And then the other thing that I'm going to say is when you reach out to us, we know that it, might seem scary and daunting. I promise it isn't, but also make sure that you're, being mature and professional about it. We are, some of us are younger on, in admissions. We're right out of college or, starting our careers off. So it might seem easy to just talk to us like you would any of your friends, but do bear in mind that we are professionals and, any relationship that you have will be professional. We want to see that your emails are grammatically correct. We want to see that, when you're on Zoom with us, that you're not looking at your phone the entire time while you're having a chat with us. Our time is precious, just like your time is precious, and we want to honor both of those things as well.
Thank you. Annette?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that idea of transferring. First of all, these are challenging economic times, I think, for a lot of people. And I think people really need to seriously consider the county college system in the state of New Jersey. Sometimes you don't get into Rutgers right out of high school, sometimes you do, but just know that the county colleges are a great path to get to Rutgers. And there's a wonderful tool online called NJ Transfer. And NJ Transfer, you can look it up, njtransfer.org, and it'll give you a recommended transfer program for to a path. So you're going to start at Raritan Valley, for example, and you say you want to do accounting. It'll tell you what to take at Raritan Valley that's already been articulated as transferable to the Rutgers Business School in New Brunswick. So you don't have to wonder, what course should I take? Is this the right math course? Is this the right economics course?
Oh, I think you got muted, Annette.
Thank you. So NJ Transfer is a great tool. And you can spend, 1 year at the county college, or you can stay for 2 years if you're going full time and get your associate's degree. There's no rule that you have to stay until you get your associate's degree. So just be mindful of that. Also, there's a program called NJ Stars. And I think if you graduate in the top 15% of your high school class, you can go to county college for free. And then if you graduate with a 3.2 GPA and you transfer to a 4-year school in New Jersey, you get an NJ Stars scholarship that goes with you to any of the 4-year schools in New Jersey. And I'll just wrap up by saying, I don't think I was clear. NJ Transfer is not just good for Rutgers, but it's good for all of the schools in the state of New Jersey. So starting out at any county college, transferring to any 4-year school. I don't think Princeton's on it, but all of the other schools in New Jersey are.
Thank you so much. And Elena?
I'll be quick. So I would say just on more of like a personal level, like I had said before, like these are the next 4 years of your life. So it is really important. I'll echo, what most of my colleagues said, but it is really important that inside you are happy with your decision. I know it's really hard with, TikTok and social media. Like, I'm not that old myself. Like, I was there before as well. It is hard to get caught up in the name of the school and like what that represents and, what you'll look like to your peers. At the end of the day, you're all graduating with the same degree. I mean, it's from a different major, but you're all graduating with a degree. So what really matters is your own individual experience. So it's a lot to ask a 17 or 18-year-old what they want to do for the rest of their lives. But, just at least try to only take your passions, your interests into consideration when making that college decision. Because in the end, it's your life. Not to get super deep, but I wish you the best of luck. And like they all said, like, we're very easily able to be contacted. And we love answering your questions because we are people, persons. Oh my God. So anyway, so my boyfriend's trying to help me out here. Yeah. So, that's what we're here for. And I wish you guys all the best of luck.
Great. And thank you so much to all of you. I know it has been a very long season and you've all had very long days and you've worked grueling days since September. So we really, truly appreciate your time and your expertise and all of the reading that you've done for our students and will continue to do. Thank you so much for everything. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We will be trying to post our recording. And we look forward to seeing you all out there. Panelists, we hope to see you here at Watchung Hills in person visiting us in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.